This sponsored episode of HIPcast is brought to you by Harris Data Integrity Solutions. Elevate your data integrity with Harris Data Integrity Solutions. Embark on a journey towards unparalleled excellence and reliability in healthcare data management. Harris Data Integrity Solutions merges the expertise of Just Associates and QuadraMed Corporation, paving the way for a brighter future in patient data integrity. You'll have peace of mind that you're working with a SOC 2 Type 2 certified vendor. With SmartIX, achieve a unified enterprise master person index, ensuring seamless patient records across your entire health system with precision and accuracy. CuraMatch offers modern, automated HIM workflow solutions, empowering HIM teams with efficient patient duplicate detection and resolution processes. Streamline your MPI maintenance with Harris expert teams and tailored MPI cleanup solutions, saving you time and minimizing errors for sustained data integrity. Discover the power of Harris Data Integrity Solutions, shaping the landscape of healthcare data management. Explore their comprehensive offerings today at harrisdataintegritysolutions.com.
Welcome to the show. Excuse me. Welcome to the show, Rachel. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
We're really excited to have you here, both as a colleague who we've shared conversation with before, and a member of the board of directors, but also as a member of the Harris Data Integrity Solutions. Harris Data Integrity Solutions, a gold sponsor for the THIMA annual meeting, and so we truly appreciate the vendor partnership. So we welcome you. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really appreciate being able to be here today. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm going to read your bio so that everyone besides Seth and I get to know who you are. So Rachel Podczervinski is a dedicated advocate for precise patient matching and data integrity across the healthcare continuum. With over 2 decades of experience in health information management, Rachel has collaborated with healthcare organizations across the United States to help identify and reduce master patient index errors. During her tenure at Harris Data Integrity Solutions, Rachel has led and overseen hundreds of duplicate reconciliation projects, participated in patient identity algorithm testing and tuning projects, patient access consulting, and data conversion planning. Rachel is an RHIA, Registered Health Information Administrator, and has a master's in Health Information Management from the College of St. Scholastica. She is a frequent speaker at industry events and has authored several articles on patient identity-related topics and volunteers on committees and work groups that help advance accurate patient matching. Rachel is currently serving as a director on the American Health Information Management Board of Directors. Again, welcome. We're so happy that you're here.
Yeah. I love listening to that.
Yeah, I know. When you at this point, right, when you start to put your bio together, you're like, oh my gosh, it's so long. How's anybody going to get past even listening to the bio, right? It's long.
I don't like it.
I feel you. I know. I get it. Well, today we are going to talk a lot about the work that is done at Harris Data Integrity Solutions, and we'll talk about what work you've done specifically, why these things are important to health information, to our profession, and we'll talk about some technology and some, maybe pros and cons of what's happening. And of course, you can't have a podcast these days in healthcare without saying AI. So I'm just going to say AI.
Yeah, got to touch on
Absolutely.
that for sure.
So one of our favorite questions to ask is, especially to fellow HI professional, is what was your journey into health information and how did you end up where you are today with Harris Data Integrity Solutions?
Sure. So not unlike most of us here, I did not come to HI on a straight path. I came a little bit sideways, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how to say that, but I went to college I was 100% certain from like 4th grade that I was going to be a teacher, and I was absolutely destined for that. And I was certain of that until my junior year of college, when I went to student teaching, and I realized very quickly that I was not going to be a high school history teacher. So I kind of had a little bit of an identity crisis at that point, because I just really didn't know what I wanted to do, because I was sure forever that that's what I wanted to do. And I found out very quickly that that was not the right path for me. So I actually started working at a hospital in Boulder, and I worked in their imaging department. Back in the day when we had radiology film jackets, and I registered patients and I scheduled patients, and I worked in the file room, and I hung films, and I transported patients, and I copied films. So I did kind of all of that imaging work. That is very similar to working in an HIM file room, only we had those big radiology jackets, and the film cuts are much more painful than the paper cuts, I think. So that's kind of where it started. And then I was kind of still trying to figure out where I was going to go. I was like, 20 at this point, kind of trying to decide what to do. I'd met my husband. We weren't married yet, but kind of already down that path. And then a couple of years later, I got pregnant. And had 2 kids. And then I was kind of like, okay, well, now I have 2 very small children. And I started working for Beth Just at Just Associates, because she had the work from home model way before COVID started. So Just Associates has been virtual since the beginning. So like 20 years of virtual work. So it was a great model for me back then to be able to still work, because I had 2 children at home that were like under 2, and I needed to work. Like I had like the jitters. I could not work. I needed something to do. I like needed my brain to do something else. I'm so envious of the moms that can do all of that and like really throw themselves into that. I think they're amazing, and it's such amazing work. And it's just, I couldn't do it. I needed, it's just not my personality. So I started working for Beth. I went back and finished my history degree. I was like, I'm just going to get it done because I'm 3 years down. And so I finished that, and I picked up a communications minor, which was like super helpful to me. I didn't even realize, like, I picked it up because it had the most online credits at the time, right? I was like, how can I, because I had to drive. It was a long ways to finish this undergrad degree while I had 2 kids at home. So I was trying to finish it as quickly as possible. But I did a lot of public speaking. I did a lot of debate. So that communications minor actually probably helped me a lot more than my history degree did down the line. And then Beth really pushed me into the master's and into the RHIA. And I kind of just worked my way through Just Associates. And then, once my kids got a little older and went into kindergarten, then I kind of worked my way through, and I was able to travel more with Just Associates, and, just kind of, and so now in Harris, because obviously Just Associates was acquired by Harris, I've had pretty much every position in our company. So all the positions that report to me now, I have done that job at some point or another, which is great. I love that about my job now, that I've been there and I've experienced all that. So it's a really great spot. And having great mentors, and really, having Beth and Linda Bach really pushed me too back then. She was Beth's partner. So having those 2 kind of push me along the way and say, you're going to do this now, kind of helped me through that. So that's how I ended up here.
That's awesome. And it's really cool that you've done all the jobs, because now you can help and support your team, right?
Yeah.
In a way that a lot of leaders can't necessarily, because they don't know the nitty-gritty, but also you can call them out.
Yes.
So it's a double-edged sword.
I know.
Yeah. So a couple of things. You're talking about being remote, and I could just hear Barbara Mandrell playing in my head, but I'm changing the words. I was remote when remote wasn't cool.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
That's what I was thinking. And also, I wanna just get your disclaimer on your here.
Yes.
Would you give that disclaimer?
Yes,
please?
absolutely. So I just wanted to clarify that I am here on behalf of Harris Data Integrity Solutions, and my comments today are on behalf of them and not on behalf of my role as on the AHIMA Board of Directors. Thank you very much for prompting me for that.
Of course. And so leading into, what kind of work do you do at Harris Data Integrity Solutions?
So we are 100% focused on patient identity and patient identification. We are both Just Associates and QuadraMed have been companies that have been focused on these tasks for a long time. We have solutions and software that are specifically designed to help facilities really master that patient identity challenge, which we all know is an extremely difficult thing. I really feel like it's something that's finally starting to get the attention that it deserves. We've been pushing on it for a really long time, and it's been hard in some cases. It's still hard in some cases to get particularly people in a C-suite to really understand why they should care about patient matching, why it's important. And I think things like the Match It Act that are coming through, we just advocated for that on Hill Day. It's brand new in front of the legislature, are really kind of helping us advance this message of it's really important because you've got patient safety, there's financial implications, there's all kinds of reasons that you need to really pay attention to that, the integrity of your data to make sure that you have all the information that you need about the patient that you're treating to make sure that they have the best possible outcome they can have when they leave your facility, and that all the information that you're treating them on is in fact their information, right? Because we know that overlays, of course, are a prevalent problem as well. So at Harris, we offer a variety of software solutions and services solutions. So if you start kind of at the most robust software solution is the Smart IX platform, which is the EMPI solution that Quadramed offers. It is a full-scale EMPI solution. Still has a very robust algorithm that does an excellent job of identifying duplicate records and matching them across multiple data sets. So that's really designed for hospitals that have disparate databases that they need to connect in a spot when they don't really have somewhere for that. So, you've got a Meditech over here, you have a Cerner over here, you have a Athena over there, you need somewhere to bring all those together, then you need something like Smart IX. And so we do still have a lot of customers that are working on that platform. Then the CuraMatch is our newer platform that we've put out. This is kind of, I like to call it like an EMPI light because it's not really designed to bring together systems. It's designed to do duplicate detection and workflow. So if you have a system that doesn't do a good job of that, so there's a lot of systems that are doing a decent job of duplicate identification and giving you a place to actually work duplicates, but there's also a lot that don't. And there's a lot that have really poor algorithms that give you spreadsheets to work duplicates off of, which is super inefficient, that just have really poor, challenging workflows. So what CuraMatch does is we load your data set into the software. We receive ADT from the updates all night, all day from your system. We analyze that for possible duplicates, and then the queue populates every day with the new duplicates from the day before for you to work. And then it's a side-by-side comparison. It's a very nice GUI. It's what our staff work in every day. So it's very well tested because we've been using it for 20 years and we've been improving it the whole time. So it's a really good software for this. And then it sends messages back into your system. So you don't have to go in and manually merge, if you have a Meditech or you have, an Athena or something that, doesn't really have that workflow that's, really convenient to work in. So it will send that HL7 message right back into the system, and then it comes back in and updates our system. It also has ability to mark them as not the same within CuraMatch, so you're not continually working the same pair over and over again. So a lot of those technologies don't have that functionality. Besides, like Epic has the KNDs, but that's pretty much the only one right now where you can mark it as not the same. And we know that that's a really important functionality as well, because if you have twins, for example, that are very, very similar, they can get combined over and over again because they have like one letter different or whatever. And so being able to say, don't ever merge these. These are not the same is an important function to have within your patient identity tools. So it allows for that as well. We've just come out with it's a service, but it's software based. So this is our triage tool, where basically if you have a duplicate report, we can ingest it. We have been working on some AI processing on our side, some data standardization. We've got a rule set that's awesome that we run everything through, and we can basically categorize your duplicate report for you and say, here's all the ones that are definitely a yes, like either we can give you a batch of HL7 merges, we can give you if your system absorbs a batch file on the back end, we can give you that batch file. So here's your yeses, these need to be merged. Here's the ones that aren't worth your time. We can tell you, there's records out there that we know are never going to be resolved, right? They don't have enough data. They're missing too much information. They're a lab record that has name and gender or something. There's so many records out there that just don't have enough information. Wow. So here's what's not worth your time. And then here's what your team might be, here's what you should spend your time on. So here's so just to break it down, because we know that there's workforce issues, and we're just trying to kind of help be a partner to our customers in whatever way we can. We know there's workforce issues. We know there's budget issues. So how can we help you really manage what you have in the best way that we can? Of course, we'd love for our services arm to come in and help you work all of that, because we do that as well, obviously. And we do historical cleanup of, backlog of large duplicates, large sets of duplicates, or if you're going through a mergers and acquisitions situation, or, you're working through Epic Care Everywhere and you've got, people coming into your data set, we do a lot of work like that to remediate duplicates. We have a large staff of highly trained patient identity experts that we are very proud of, that we spend a lot of time on. And so that is very important to us. And then we also do ongoing work in services too. So if you have a queue and, it's hard to keep up with that sometimes. And a lot of people are on Epic Identity, and there's a lot of queues to keep up in there. There's the duplicate queue, there's the RME queue for some people, there's the overlay queue, and it can be really overwhelming for a DI team. And so it's something that we can help provide support to our customers. And just we have some that our staff just daily log into their thing. They work all their queues down till they're zero. And, the folks at the facilities don't even have to think about it. So
that's pretty fascinating. Yeah. It reminds me, it's shaking some cobwebs in the back of the brain, because it's been probably greater than 15 years since I've lived in the traditional HI department.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, you're talking about spreadsheets and overlays. And I remember it was so manual back then. And that was really pre-EMR. We were doing document management systems, but not really. We thought we were fancy when we did CPOE and all this. And it's now that I hear you speak to it, it sounds like there are tools and services that are much, much, much more advanced. But
Absolutely.
The problem of patient matching is also exponentially higher because of all the electronic systems. So it's kind of fascinating to hear you go through that and to shake some of those cobwebs out in the back of the mind.
Yeah, the electronic world did not help the patient matching situation. I can tell you that. It was a lot easier to fix a paper record than it is an electronic record. That's for sure.
It's fascinating to think about, because now that you're bringing back these, I'll say, bad memories of overlays and patient matching and the pain that is. But it's, as I think about that, it's kind of convicting to me that once I went over to IT and started to manage large-scale EMR projects, I lost the importance of patient matching and what that is. And it's almost like IT doesn't necessarily, not that we don't care, but we're focused on other things. So it requires an HI professional in the HI department to really raise this issue up and say, this is a major problem that we have to make sure we are equipped with the tool sets and the partners to be able to manage this entire situation. I think I remember even saying, we had a dollar amount associated with every duplicate, and we were incentivizing our registration teams and admitting to, based on their duplicate creation rate, if it was below a certain amount, we would incentivize them. I assume that's a great way still to bring that up to a CFO and leadership, right?
I would think so. I mean, they just came out with some numbers, because in the HEMA Match It Act there's a lot of numbers, because they're trying to support this bill, and the number in there is $1,950 per inpatient stay on repeat studies, $1,700 per ED visit, and then 35% of denied claims result from inaccurate patient identification. And that is resulting the average healthcare facility about $17.4 million a year is
That
what it
should get a
costs them
CFO's
just
attention.
in denied claims. That's
That
it.
should get a
Just in denied
CFO's
claims.
attention. Absolutely.
That's
You would
insane.
So
think,
that 17
right?
million, that 17 million is only the denied claims, the
Yep, per
35%.
year in just denied claims.
Wow. Wow. And a third, think about that, Seth, 1/3 of your denials that could be eliminated with proper patient matching. 1/3 of your denials. That is
Yep.
huge.
And
That
if you
is
think
huge.
about that on the scale of our entire healthcare system, it's $6.7 billion a year in the US
Wow.
healthcare system, just in
Phew.
denied claims. So
Wow.
it's a huge problem.
This is a big deal. And one of the things you also mentioned when you were talking through what Harris Data Integrity Solutions does is you were going through the workforce challenges that we experience in the HI industry and in healthcare just in general. So that brings in, Harris has some great tool sets, right? What does AI have to help with this? Because AI is the term that everybody uses. I was recently at HIMSS, and every booth there had AI. Even the concession stand had AI generated Coca-Cola or whatnot. So, how does AI play into patient matching solutions?
Yeah, everything's about AI, right? I've been hearing it everywhere. And it is another thing because I keep talking about it, but we just came off Advocacy Summit, and that was our other big topic. Was trying to get some groundwork in place or just some guardrails in place for non-clinical use of AI within the healthcare spectrum. And I'll say, I think AI is super exciting. Just I'm a tech geek too. Like, I think it's awesome. I love ChatGPT. I love playing in there. I think it's really awesome. It scares me. Also, I think it should scare all of us. I think if you're not a little bit scared, then you're probably not paying attention. And what scares me most about patient matching, I think we all should explore these things, right? Because of all the challenges we have in our healthcare system, it's important for us to explore all the solutions and try to make things more efficient and try to make things better for our patients and try to get better outcomes, right? That's the goal for all of us. That's our number one thing, is how do we make the experience and the outcomes better for our patients. But we have to make sure we do it in a safe way, especially when it comes to patient matching. So what concerns me a little bit about the use of AI is that, when you think about pattern matching and machine learning and how you might train an AI to make decisions about whether or not two records are the same, I've seen a million duplicate records, right? I told you I've worked every job, right? I've worked so many duplicate records, I can't even tell you. And you can see the exact same pattern of discrepancies, and sometimes it's the same person and sometimes it's not. Like, you might have a transposition in the date of birth and that's the same, and maybe a typo in the first name and that's the same person, but over here that's not the same person. So how does the AI tell the difference between when it is the same and when it's not? And if it's learning from a decision that you made and it's recognizing the pattern, how does it, so I have concerns about that. And I have concerns with just how it learns and how it's changing, because as we evaluate things, and check things, and it's a human nature, right? That if something seems to be working fine, you let it go, right? You just, oh, it's great. Like, we haven't had any issues. So no news is good news. I'm just going to hope everything's fine. And then you find out later down the road, you've got 500 overlays because somebody has a horrible patient outcome, So that's where I'm mostly concerned, is just about using it wisely and making sure that the people that are making the decisions about how it's happening, because you have to bring the subject matter expertise and the developers together in a way that they can really inform each other well. And you really need a solid person that understands patient identity and a solid developer to speak the same language, which is hard enough already, right? Yeah. Like, if you guys have ever had, like user group and developers, and trying to speak the same language is so hard already. And you're talking about such a critical thing in our patient identity, in patient care, that, I think it's great. I really want to be a part of it. I really want it to happen. We really got to be careful is my biggest message.
Yeah, AI is really what Shannan and I have done a couple presentations together around AI, and it's fun to talk about. And it's some people are excited, some people are fearful, and what we always have to remember is AI is like a puppy; it will do anything to make you happy, and that could even be doing the wrong thing because it thinks it's making you happy. But it just reminds us that there is still a human needed to sit with the AI. There is still an HI professional needed to validate the recommendations or the findings of a large scale model that's looking at data. So there's still a future for an HI professional in this.
Absolutely. And you have to have somebody in there. I think there's no way that you can take people out of this patient identity process because and even if you're not using AI, you can't have, there's a lot of a lot of people are using even right now rules that are, auto match rules, which I think are great too. Like if you're really solid about those rules, you've tested them, just make sure you continually test them, right? Make sure you're continually auditing them. Make sure you're double checking on a regular basis. Like it doesn't have to be a big sample, but just make sure you're taking a sample, like, do those checks on the back, and you always need a human in the loop just to double check yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So AI, so for me, AI is scary in generative AI. That's where I get scared because there's a lot of bias and a lot of unknowns that you don't have a data sample to put into the machine, into that LLM for AI to pick up on that, right? So when it comes to generative AI or even protocols and treatments, that's when I get a little worried. For me, I love the efficiency gained in AI through AI. That is a huge opportunity. But I also agree with you that you still need that person. So there's autonomous coding now.
Yes.
And we had a fascinating conversation with Dr. Melissa Kohler on that several months ago, I think. But it was a fantastic conversation. But this is really a great place for health information professionals to actually elevate, because AI should not, it's making your job easier, but look at what it's doing there's an opportunity for us to say, hey, we're the checkers, like we're the auditors. We become a profession of auditors. And auditors are important to the world because they're watching all the P's and Q's. Absolutely. They're watching the dollars. They're watching the patient outcomes. They're all of those things. So I think in process with autonomous coding, now with patient matching, by the way, I didn't know that patient matching AI was being used in patient matching, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
We have the opportunity as a profession to elevate, to say, let me embrace this technology. Let me be part of that user group that is testing those outcomes and that is auditing those outcomes so that we make the machine better and so that we don't cause harm, right? Our processes are good, and that is the right person, and that health information that is following that person is following the right person. It's the right information for the right person. So I think that is really awesome. You said something earlier that I've got to ask you about. You said we know that there are records out there that are not ever going to be reconciled. They have like two data elements, a name and a gender, whatever the two data elements are. I have to know, is that like new and current registered patients, or is that older? Because if that's new and current, isn't there like a minimum necessary in your EMR when you're filling it out?
So it's mostly, a lot of it's converted data for most health systems, but you're supposed to keep your EMPI forever. So there's records that people have that are, 40 years old sometimes that don't have information. But I will say people still have, there's still processes of records coming in, and a lot of processes, right? They've got ACO data coming in, and, the health systems just are being inundated and flooded with data. And a lot of times the constraints that you have, like as a registrar, of what you have to enter into the record, and Seth might know this from the IT side, the constraints you have of putting stuff in aren't the same as data coming in. So like you can import data that doesn't fit the rules.
That's
that
true.
you know, like when you're adding it, you have to put all this information in. But if you're importing a large data set, you can bring it in with stuff that does not fit those rules. And we see that all the time, because a lot of the data that we're dealing with is data conversions, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of what we're seeing right now is hospitals aren't converting a lot of their historical data into their new EMR. They're bringing in very like smaller sections, and it's getting smaller and smaller all the time. You know, they're only taking 6 months and future appointments worth of like clinical data into their new EMR, or a year or two. And they're putting everything else into archive systems now, instead of, you know, kind of trying to keep it all together, which makes trouble on the other end too. ROI is going to get very complicated for people as like this stuff comes up, because the data is just going to be in a lot of places. But some of these archive vendors are getting really creative with how they store information. So hopefully that'll get better. But, you know, I do feel like, and there's still the challenge of like reference. I think the number one offender of the limited data record is reference labs. So they're sending like a little specimen sorry, that just needs to be read by pathology. And like they send it, and they're sending, it's like one little transactional thing. But you still have to store that record. And so that's usually the number one offender, I would say. But it is in the Match It Act to set a minimum of, it's one of the things that they want HHS and the ONC to set kind of a minimum of what needs to be collected, obviously, if you can. Because one of the challenges we have as, you know, caregivers and working with patients is we don't get to control what we get all the time, right? So, you know, the patient might not be honest with us, or they might be unconscious, or, you know, we don't always get to get the information right, you know? So when people say, oh, well, the banking system and the finance system, they don't have any problems with matching I'm like, yeah, they have all the right information. You don't, if you lie about your social or your name, or they typo it, you don't get an account, or you don't get a loan, you don't get, you know.
And they're conscious. That's a funny way to put it. They're awake.
They're awake. Like, we still have to treat the patient no matter what they provide us, right? They still are our customer no matter what we get from them. So that analogy always frustrates me, because we're playing on very different fields. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for coming on and representing Harris Data Integrity Solutions. It has been a really fun conversation. I haven't worked in a health information setting in, I think, longer than Seth. It's been a really long time for me. So patient matching, I mean, I hear about it a lot, you know, and I understand the woes, but my goodness, it's a big business. So
yes, it is.
So we appreciate Harris Data Integrity Solutions giving you some time to come and talk with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed talking to you guys, and I appreciate your time as well.
Great. And let's thank Harris Data Integrity Solutions one more time for sponsoring this episode and being a THIMA corporate sponsor. We truly value our corporate sponsors for our association. Join us on a journey of excellence into the future of data integrity. Harris brings together the unparalleled expertise of Just Associates and Quadramed Corporation to revolutionize healthcare data management. You'll have peace of mind that you are working with a SOC 2 Type 2 certified vendor. With SmartIX EMPI, you establish a single source of truth across your entire health system, ensuring accurate patient records with up to 99% accuracy. CuraMatch HIM Workflow Solution offers an automated HIM workflow, eliminating cumbersome processes of remediating duplicates using spreadsheets while reducing errors. Say goodbye to time-consuming MPI cleanup maintenance. Harris's expert team delivers tailored solutions for efficient MPI cleanup, customized to your facility's needs. Experience the power of Harris Data Integrity Solutions, shaping the future of healthcare data management today. Visit harrisdataintegritysolutions.com to learn more. Shannan, until next time, my friend.
See you next time, buddy.